Come on, son.
Raphael on the track.
Come on, son. Come on, son. What up, y'all? Sad lover. This is Killer Outside, the podcast. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Brought to you by CigarsInternational.com. Y'all know they're my people. If you've been listening to the podcast, it's brought to you by CigarsInternational.com. Go to CigarsInternational.com for all your cigar needs. When you check out, just type in the promo code ED10OFF, ED10OFF. Get 10% off your entire purchase, and also by Nissan South of Morrow, 6889 Jonesboro Road, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. They got all the cars that you want, all the Nissans that you can want. It's 2018s and got certified pre-owned, all that. So go to 6889 Jonesboro Road, ask my man Chris White, Nissan South of Morrow, and oversaw, or the big overseer up in the sky, the one and only Combat Jack, you internets. Welcome to Come On Son, the podcast. Today we're going to be talking to the one and only Mr. Don Cannon. Yeah, Cannon. You know Don Cannon. Celebrity DJ and producer Donald Earl Cannon. I'm going to get on him about that. They're responsible for a new sound and major hip-hop anthems storming the airways over the past couple of years, more than 10 years. Internationally known DJ can be heard spinning to elite industry crowds from Atlanta to Tokyo. Tall-ass motherfucker. Production and credit includes oh my God, so many. Outkast, the art of storytelling, featuring Marsha Ambrosius, Young Jeezy, Go Crazy, Jay-Z, 50 Cent's Man Down, Ludacris, Everybody Hates Chris, Undisputed, featuring Floyd Mayweather, Fabulous, oh my God. I have his discography in front of me, and it's too much shit to mention. And you know he is partners with the only one, Barack Drama, DJ Drama, and they have their very own label, Generation Now, and they have Lil Uzi Vert signed to that label. So Don Cannon is going to come in, and we're going to talk about hip-hop, DJing, producing, record labels, everything that Don Cannon has his hand in, we're going to talk about it. He even produced stuff for Lecrae, right? He did a song for Lecrae called Church Clothes. Pusha T, Logic, Jeezy, of course, Lil Uzi Vert, just so many people, so much music. Estelle and Rick Ross. He did Big Sean featuring Kendrick Lamar and Royce the 5'9". He's done a lot of work, in a short period of time. Absolutely, but a lot of work. Also co-owner of Mean Street Studio along with DJ Drama. They have done so many things for being, I like to call them young G's, because I'm an OG, so they YGs. They're not baby G's, but they YGs. They're young gods. So they've done a lot of work. So I'm going to talk to Don Cannon coming up, and I want to talk to Don Cannon about A Generation Now, definitely, and how they see hip-hop growing and moving into the next generation, and the big dispute in hip-hop against rappers and what the rappers like to call mumble rap. So we got a lot of stuff to talk to Don Cannon about. So Don Cannon is going to be joining me in the studio in a minute for Come On Son, the podcast. Like I told y'all, man, Don Cannon is my in-studio guest on today's podcast. Welcome, sir.
What's up, man? How
you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I can't
Philadelphia's own Don Cannon.
Yeah, you right.
Came down here to Clark Atlanta University and never left, huh?
That's it, man. I didn't want to go back to the Wolves.
You didn't want to go back to Philly?
No, the Wolves.
How was life in Philly? Were you DJing in Philly?
Nah, well, when I was 9, I was, and then I stopped to being a rapper, tried to be Shaq, tried to do the basketball or rap thing.
Okay.
Basketball ain't pan out. I started watching Kobe and all the people I was playing with go to the NBA. I was like, yo.
You were playing with Kobe?
Yeah, Kobe, Rasul Butler.
Wow.
Flip Murray, Jameer Nelson. A lot of dudes, man, that went to the NBA that I ain't go. I wasn't that good.
Okay.
So I switched it up.
When did you figure that out?
When I seen them jumping over people's head, dunking it, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of us that have basketball dreams, man.
Yeah, I mean, I tried, a little bit. I just felt like, they had a cheat code. They had a couple coaches that was really taking, like his dad was already in there, so Maurice Cheeks was really taking a lot of them basketball players and molding them into something that, you know, I definitely didn't get that privilege. I was still from the hood, so.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
What part of Philly you from?
I'm from West Philly.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, shout out to everybody out there in West Philly. Philly is
Wild West.
Philly is a great place.
Yeah.
It is a real
Sometimes.
And it's a sports town too.
Definitely. Like, I'm getting calls right now. I'm cousins that I ain't spoke to. They Facebooking me like, yo, so who you with? You with the Eagles? You with the Falcons? So I'm like, okay. You know.
Well, who you with, bro?
You know I'm with the Eagles.
Oh, absolutely. You gotta be.
I can't rock with the Falcons. Only thing I give the Falcons is that Matt Ryan is from Philly, so.
Okay.
You know, that's the
yeah,
Falcons.
And I give the Falcons props because Dan Quinn is from Jersey.
Okay,
and I'm a New York Giants guy. So
it's close enough.
That's it. So I will root for them, but I don't think I can wear their paraphernalia. I can't. I can't put their hats on and all that shit.
And the color's ugly.
Yeah. I can't do that, man. I cannot do that. So you came down here, you went to school. Did you meet drama at school?
Yeah, well, it was funny because I went to school with this kid named Jabari. I make sure that I bring his name up. He was like, yo, when you go to Atlanta, make sure you hook up my homeboy. He lived around the corner from me. His name Drama. He already lit, you know, Bahama D and the Roots already working with him. He got a group. When you go down there, go see him. So when I finally came to school, I ran into him. The first thing I said to him was like, yo, what's up? I'm Jabari, homeboy. And I make beats or whatever. I'm like, man, get out of here, young boy. You don't make no beats. You ain't hot. You know what I'm saying? I DJ too. So I had gave him a CD, like, you know what I mean? Just check it out. You know what I mean? Let me know what you think. Man, he called me like 2 days later, like, yo, where you at? You got to come to our studio. You fire. So I'm like, all right, cool. So then we built a relationship from there. And then our other partner, Trendsetter, I ran into him too. We had another buddy the same way. I was playing basketball with this kid named Ace McLeod. He was like, yo, make sure you hook up my man Brand when you get down there. So I hooked up with him the same way.
Okay.
Yeah, but they was already friends. I ain't know. I just thought it was
them separate. Two were already friends.
Yeah, because I'm thinking when you come to school, like Philly click up, New York click up, it ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're in Philly, it's like, you know, even in New York, it's like somebody might say they from Mount Vernon. It might not be the same clique you with in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So the same thing with Philly. It was like people was from Westchester or like King of Prussia.
Right.
They not, you know what I mean, not from West Philly or North Philly. And, you know, Drama's from the bottom, which is one of the worst parts of Philadelphia. And when I seen him, I was like, yo, you look like nothing like this.
Right.
I mean, everybody around my neighborhood scarred up, looking crazy. You know, he came through. He had the long dreads. You know, he was rolling with, you know, the Roots crew and stuff like that. So, you know, it clicked up good for us, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you're right about that, too, because usually a lot of times, you run into somebody and they be like, yo, I'm from New York, Ed, I'm from New York. And you be like, yeah, where you from, man? I'm such and such and such. You be like, dude, nah, bro.
Yeah, and it's nothing like
that ain't New York.
You just don't
bro.
know. You don't know the feeling. Like, it's nothing wrong with being, like, from Westchester and stuff like that, but to be in the real trenches and be around that, like, it's a whole different experience than, you know, being from Rochester, New York. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Well, Rochester get busy now. Oh, them motherfuckers
they get busy now.
Woo!
They get real busy.
The Rock. They used to be a laughing stock, and Buffalo too. They gets busy now. Yeah. Like seriously busy. You don't want to fuck with them kids up there. I'm telling you right now. I was in Rochester doing a comedy show right now. I see a dude slap the shit out of his girlfriend in the middle of the dance floor in the club. I was like, these niggas is bugging. In this piece right now.
It's the same thing as Westchester and Philly. Like, when we first came in early 2090s, it was safe. Now it's like almost the murder capital of the world. Like, they're going crazy.
Yeah.
Going crazy.
How do you think Philly molds you into being the entrepreneur and businessman that you are today?
I had to watch some of the dudes coming out of the city. Lionel Simmons was one. Him and Will Smith was like the top.
Shout out to L Train.
Yeah, L Train. They was
he used to give a hell of a barbecue. Shit,
man.
Wow.
I watched them as youngins, like, you know what I mean, and just watch their business moves. Like, he was the first person I seen that really got into buying neighborhoods. You know what I mean, buying old projects and giving something for kids to do. So like L Train ran the city for the most part. Even on the South Side, he had like restaurants. He had schools. He got involved with Pop and Oak and, you know, some of them cats that, you know, from Philly International back in the day, and they made schools and programs. So I'm like, damn, when I get older, I guess I'm going to have to do this because that's part of being a businessman. It's not just being selfish saying I'm going to just spend all my money on jewelry and cars and stuff. Like, you got to get into, you know, putting back into the city. So, and then, you know, I didn't initially watch Kobe and them do that. You know, I watch everybody from the city, from outside cities come in and do stuff. Like I seen Jay-Z buy condos and put money into different places, and Drake coming to Strawberry Mansion and putting a whole school program there.
Right.
I haven't seen that, so we had to really kind of look back at like L Train and those guys, like, and be like, yo, they really, you know, molded the city as much as they could. And, you know, Philly, like any other city, like in the north, is tough because it's crabs in a barrel sometimes. So you got to kind of like maneuver a certain way. The city officials don't want you to have certain permits to do things. So, you know, it really molded, you know, us to be the tough businessman, but still give back to the city, just watching them.
One of the toughest mafia crews in America, Philadelphia Mob.
Absolutely.
Little Nicky Scarfo and that whole crew over there.
How you know about all that?
I know a lot about shit. Junior Black Mafia out of Philly.
Yeah, my dad was in that. Junior Black Mafia.
Really? I was going to ask you, was that before your time? That's where Biggie got Junior Mafia from. It came from the Junior Black Mafia out of Philadelphia.
They was tough.
Ruthless dudes right there,
Tough.
man.
Yeah.
Knew a couple of them very well. Sometimes it's cool being Ed Lover because you get in, you kind of get this kind of, yo, you Ed Lover, right? Yeah, I'm such and such, and you kind of befriend people because you treat people with respect, you know. But a lot of dudes from New York thought that when TNT kind of clamped down on us that we can go down to Philly and Baltimore and shut shit down. Wrong move. Them niggas don't play at all. Yeah. And they already got a chip on their shoulder. But New York and Philly always kind of had a good relationship.
Yeah, they had a highly respect, especially, you know, if I could talk about the basketball a little bit, like we went up there AAU to play in Brooklyn. It was always love. You know what I mean? Even going to Rucker and stuff like that.
Oh, like, hell yeah, because Philly always brought tough teams and tough ball players from Philadelphia. And he only an hour and a half away.
Yeah, you know, it's a little bus trip, you know, getting a little passenger van.
And y'all used to throw the joints down on the plateau and all that. We used to roll on there for that shit. What? The Philly Greek Fest?
The Freaknik and all that?
Greek Fest?
Yeah.
Philly Greek Fest. Let me tell y'all, folks, if you're listening right now, you think you miss Freaknik. Philly Greek Fest was a stop. It's something that had to happen. Like, that was part of your life. You knew when it was coming. You was like, when Philly? Oh, next weekend?
The Plat.
Right. When you hear Will Smith saying the Summertime record, the place called the Plateau is where everybody go.
Absolutely.
That's where we drove from New York. If you had to rent a car, you rented a car to come from New York and to go down to Philly. Yeah. All right, Philly was always as a neighbor to New York. And then when the throwbacks came out,
bruh,
shit.
I got
Mitchell
a lot of trouble.
Based in Philly.
Yep.
South Street in Philly, where you got all the best shit from, where you got the best throwbacks, best hats, best everything. So our relationship with Philly is really crazy.
Absolutely.
Really crazy, and has been for a very, very long time. So you got down here, you got settled in, you guys hook up, and y'all start something that I don't think Atlanta had ever seen before.
Yeah, well, Atlanta had it, but I think that, you know, Atlanta for some time were trying to figure out their identity in certain ways. Mm-hmm. So they had like Little John was here, then you had Outkast here, then you had Camp. And what happened was they had this little phrase, and it's like, you don't like Atlanta, fly away. You know, that was the Goody Mob phrase. So we was down here moving around. They was like, yeah, we don't want the stuff that y'all have. We don't want it the same way y'all do things. We do our mixtapes like this, or we do our parties like this. You know what I mean? So we was trying to figure out
acquiesce to what we're doing.
Yeah.
In other words.
Yeah, and we tried to break in and try to figure out how to make it work for us. Being down here, knowing that we weren't going nowhere, how do we get in? So we just kind of reinvented the wheel with some of the DJs down here like Jelly and all of them. They were making the CD and putting the label on it. They had never seen it with a cover like New York.
Right.
So we kind of fused the two to come up with our own, and then, you know, slowly moved in saying we can't get all the exclusives like New York, so we're not beating them, so we need to find the artists that are going to be hot next year or the year after that.
How do you do that? Because with Generation Now, we'll talk about that in a minute, you're still on the cutting edge of doing that.
Yeah, well, what me and John figured out was as slow as it was for us to maneuver into this world, there was always exciting acts here. You know, they weren't closed doors. There was a lot of people in different states that was closed doors to everything. Rap,
absolutely.
Rap was real rebellious.
Yeah.
Even us, like, we had to tame it down a little bit. When you come to Atlanta, it's a little bit more Southern comfort. You know, people speak. You know, artists are a little bit more open to collaborating.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
A lot of competition. So we started seeing like, oh, if they're gonna be able to work, then it's gonna give them an avenue. Like it's when you rebellious, you close doors. People like I don't want to mess with him, and you know what I mean. It was such an open door for David Banner to be rolling up or T.I. to be rolling up. It was like, oh, we can push these guys. It was always about that at first,
right?
And then we mastered. Okay, we can make these cats the next generation. You know? So that was pretty much how we do it. It wasn't like a guess in the park. It's like it's very hard to break an artist, but we had to really kind of look into what made that artist special. Like T.I. came to the house, he was swagged out. Drum he had a little house on Glen Ivory Street, and T.I. just was like, I don't care, I'll come rap in the bathroom. That was like relentlessness. We was like, oh, we gotta have this kid. We gotta make him a star.
Right.
No matter what we think of his music or not, he gotta be that one. And then he started being able to, and a lot of things. We add little points too. Like if you think about T.I. and you think about people in the South, it was hard for rappers to really rap on every type of beat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we started seeing the people that were going to be big be able to rap on all those beats. Like T.I. could rap on a beat like Go Crazy or Lean Back,
right,
the same way he did trap music. You know what I mean? A lot of people weren't able to do that. So we kind of knew the stars, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be able to translate to New York or Chicago or L.A. based off of those maneuvers. So,
how did you get the distribution going the way that y'all were able to do it?
Funny thing is, I guess Drum was DJing with Big Mike and Green Lantern.
Okay.
And they kind of like put us in the same channels.
Okay.
Like, this the guy to get you to Canal Street.
Right.
This the guy to get you, here,
Uh-huh.
In different cities. But what was crazy was we were in the South, and the South has this thing where up north doesn't. Like you have to go through a certain person. It was so many channels in the South. Like you could be in Mississippi and open up a whole 100 channels. You know what I'm saying? Be in Tennessee, open another 100 channels. It was just everybody was working with each other. You get up north, it's like, yeah, I don't want to sell your tape because we do Clue here.
That's right.
I don't want to sell your tape because Envy rolled this neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So being in the South is a little different. That's why some of the South artists now get a chance to blow up faster because they go on so many markets that's open to new artists. Like you could
wide
be
open.
Jackson, Mississippi, or Biloxi, and then come back here and do Tallahassee, and these be brand new artists.
That's right.
You don't get that chance. It's like up north, it's like,
you don't
man,
get that.
You get the main stage. You need to know Ed. You need to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's tough. Like so we got those channels by that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about Generation Now because. Before you came on, I was running down some of your discography, and you've worked with a lot of people from, Young Jeezy, man, Scrappy, Fabulous, After Cassidy, regardless, Fabulous is a lyricist.
Right.
But now you're in Generation Now, and you have a very successful artist by the name of Lil Uzi Vert signed to your label through Atlantic. How do you... I don't know if it's the right words is ride the fence because you've worked with these guys and this is a different generation of artists, not so much lyricism, which a lot of these guys from the era where you were producing a lot of their stuff, they call this mumble rap.
For sure.
How do you deal with both sides of this?
It was tough because, when we was first working with Jeezy, they called that mumble rap. It just wasn't called mumble rap. It was called they were dope dealer music. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they really ain't have too much lyricism. They just had a message. It just, it took him to kind of break the barrier of be able to say such vivid things. The only person that came through before that with real stuff in my era would probably be like a Cool G rap.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Jay-Z, maybe.
Right.
Nas
Biggie.
had a story, Biggie.
Right.
But we never really got that vivid, like, I'm still here. I got dope in the trunk right now.
Right.
And I'm coming to see you to do the mixtape with the dope in the trunk.
Right.
And you gonna roll because this what we doing. And I had a big bag of money. So it's like, when we started seeing that, I was like, oh, it's so many types of rap. Like, being up north, one thing. Like, I was there. I knew Biggie, Jay-Z, and Tupac.
Right.
Or DMX.
Nas Escobar. And then
I didn't want to hear Silk the Shocker. I didn't want to hear nothing you had to say from nobody else.
I tell her that all the time. we were so closed off.
Yeah, Dope Trick Daddy. And then when you hear, you learn to respect it. Like, oh, I'm getting what they trying to say or what they trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So over the years, me and Drum always really helped the artists get there. But, when you get bigger in artists, only thing you can get from it is the groundbreaking accolades, but it's never on your sleeve. It's just what people think. Is we never got a chance to have the pen like, oh, this is yours.
This is yours, right?
So,
it was always, oh, thank y'all for helping, but then they go off in Atlantic, and all of them are really reaping all the rewards for a lot of
turn into the artists,
right?
They gave us, a couple $1,000s to break it, and adios. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then you keep the relationship with the artist, but back then, now every DJ has an album, every crew has an album, so you could go back and forth. Like, I'll do this to break your artist. You give me. That wasn't there in the early 2000s, like in 2005. Like, Jeezy wasn't giving you nothing. It was like, you break this and you keep it moving.
Right.
You get money. You know what I mean?
Right.
So fast forward. With Uzi, our whole mind frame was like, okay, when we first started Affiliates, we had a label with Asylum in 2006 and 7.
Yes, sir.
And our first artist was somebody that we went to school with, was from Michigan. And we really wanted an artist from Philadelphia. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's what the Affiliates is about. We spelled it Phill. So it's like, we need something Philly-oriented.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Philadelphia.
Yeah, we need something like that's going to translate from us. You know what I mean? So we wound up, scrapping that whole thing. Time went on. Then when we came back to, I went to Def Jam, and I was vice president of A&R, and I kind of lifted up the hood, and I seen, like, okay, they got Nitrogen here, they got this there. Man, I'm going to take this back to Atlanta and do it with Drum and figure it out. I came back. I was like, yo, we need to start the label. He's like, cool, we got to find an artist. So I was in I had a residency DJ in Atlantic City, and I was riding to Atlantic City, and I heard the kid Uzi on the radio. So I'm like, what is this? It's so foreign sounding. But I know one thing that I studied, Dr. Dre, he listens for sonics and certain things. And dude had like a sonic to his voice. So I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I call a radio station, like, who's that rapping? Happened to be a DJ. She said, this kid Uzi I'm working with, you interested? I was like, yeah, listen, I was supposed to fly from Atlantic City back to Atlanta. I'm going to drive back to Philly. I want to meet him. Can you set it up? She set up the meeting. I went to go see him in the hood. He came with, the goons. You know what I'm saying? But we went down South Street, so I'm talking to him. He's like, you got to come to the studio, hear some music. All the kids on the street already know him. So I did a little research, and a couple people was like, yo, he was already ill out here just battle rapping and, doing this thing. So I said, battle rapping? Oh, that means he could really rap.
Right.
Okay, let me figure this out. So I go to the studio, listen to the music. Music was real good for him to be 18 years old. And I'm like, why is it so polished? Like, I don't understand. There's got to be a producer behind him that's polishing the records. But it really wasn't. He just had an engineer, but he just knew what he wanted to hear.
Okay.
So I went to meet him, listen to music. He act like he didn't really know who I was or whatever, so it was cool. I went back to Atlanta, about a couple of days later, he had called me like, yo, you going to sign me or what? I know what you do. Come on, man. Like, what we doing? You going to let Kanye or one of these dudes sign me? So I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I started listening to the music, and then he would play me little records like, oh, you think I'm this, right? Play me a record, and it'd be straight rap, like,
oh, wow,
Meek Mill. And I'd be like, oh, wait, what's going on? He's like, yeah, that's boring. I don't like that. Like, I'm going to turn into a complete rock star. Like, I got my whole vision laid out. So I brought the Drum. I showed Drum. He's like, man, let's do it. We finally got him down here to start working to get out. First of all, our first mind frame is Philly. Oh, don't get in trouble.
Right.
We don't got nothing. We bring him down here, start working. And I saw his work ethic, and I'm like, damn, these is all the qualities that we need.
What is his work ethic like? 6
songs a day, about 700 songs a year. Good or bad, he's a rat. He's a studio rat.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And you would think somebody that's performing and out there he won't be in the room as much. He does not leave that space.
Oh,
you know what I mean? He beats me in that space.
Okay.
So, as I'm starting to hear the records and starting to see the quality that he's bringing, I started adding producing, some producer buddies of mine. Metro is one of the kids that I found. He was 17 in St. Louis, and his mom met with me. It's like, I got my son. He's dope. You know what I'm saying? Met with him. He wound up being Metro Boomin. Put him in the game. Sonny Digital, Mike Will.
Right.
FKI was one of the first dudes from Jump that got involved in it. And by the way, half of this was all based on relationship. The rest of it was like, yo, dude is nice. I got to be a part of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So once we started doing that, the rest was history, really. You know what I mean? He had his
Uh-huh.
vision of being a rock star. We kind of...
But you're telling us, you're telling the world right now, for a lot of people that might not hear it, that Uzi can rap that other way if he wants to.
Absolutely. Like if you
were battle rapping and you got a name in Philly, you can fucking rap.
Yeah, like I was walking in a sneaker store. They had a consignment sneaker store like Flight Club, and it was like, "Oh, that's the kid Lil Uzi." They ain't say nothing to me like that. Ain't Don Cannon, like,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They
so
knew
I was
who he
like,
was.
okay, there's something here. I'd rather
Right.
him say that than me. You know
right.
what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So, as you know, when he gets with Meek, they do those type of records.
Yeah.
You know, because Meek will demand that type of record, or he'll feel like he has to.
Right.
You know what I mean? But for the most part, he's into melody. He's into songwriting. He listened to a lot of, not as soul, but like Paramore.
Okay.
I call that, like, people may say that's rock. I call like alternative soul because the melodies are so familiar to us. You know, for us to be able to listen to that, like Flyleaf and
Right.
and them type of people. And then he takes us like, I don't only listen to that. I got Marilyn Manson, where I get my whole feel from. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It's like, oh, you jumping, you gonna bite a head off of a bat? You know what I'm saying? You want some meatloaf? You about to jump in the crowd? Like,
Right.
We'll never know. So when he mixing that and fusing it with all the other things, it's starting to be Lil Wayne to me. You know what I mean? It's starting to have that feel.
Right.
Where Lil Wayne was rock star. Like, he never coined it, but he was the first dude with no shirt off, with the dreads, the tats everywhere,
Right.
the drug influence. You know what I
Right.
mean? This is all rock star feels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we used to, tin boots, the hoodie and a shirt. I ain't
Right.
used to the dude that coming out dancing like Mick Jagger. And,
Right.
know what I'm
And
saying?
just rocking out.
Right.
To his own thing. But isn't that what we push the envelope of hip-hop for?
Absolutely, but I think that as we get older, the people from the last generations forget that's what we was doing in the first place. Had we forgot Run DMC and Aerosmith had did those things.
That's
Did
right.
you forget how tight their pants were? Did you forget the shoes they wore? Did
That's
you forget
right.
Curtis Blow had on a see-through blouse?
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like,
Did you
we
forget that one time Big Daddy Kane posed ass naked?
Did you see what I'm saying?
And with Madonna in the Madonna sex book? Did we forget he was in Playgirl? Like, did we forget Father MC did that? Like,
Right.
We always like to look at our generation as something extra special because we did have what we called the golden age of hip hop, which was probably the most creative period of hip hop ever. But let's not do to them what our parents did to us.
For sure. That's all I'm trying to get to. And Jay-Z made known too. It's like Tupac had a nose ring. Like,
Yeah, did we forget that?
people, we
Certainly did, right
ultramagnetic MCs. They was crazy. They had
Cool Keith
dreads.
is still fucking flipped out.
He just came through the studio not too long ago with the sailor hat with the crazy boots.
Yeah, Cool
Same
Keith
thing.
is still bugged out. He put the fucking crazy wig on. We forget
Yeah.
MF Doom.
Yeah.
MF Doom wears a mask,
You feel me?
for Christ's sake. So if Lil Uzi Vert is doing something different, what's the problem? Like,
Yeah, I take that for all them kids. Like, if you think about it, like, a lot of the things has come with time. Like, the education is different than how we had it. And our respect and morals are a little different. They got so many choices now.
Right.
We had no choice. You had to be a Muslim or Christian.
Right.
Or a 5%er. That was just that. You know what I'm saying? And we were stiff on those things. Now you got
especially coming out of Philly.
Yeah, your neighborhood is like, okay, you got atheists, you got Muslims, you know what I'm saying? You got people that don't even believe in that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even their friendships is different. Like, sexuality was different when we was young. We was real stern on a certain thing.
That's right.
They thing is they homeboy is this and they homegirl is that, or they love the dog too much. You know what I'm saying? They're different. And, as we got older, we never understood none of that. Like, I'm still like in awe, like, damn, the new generation, they do anything upside down cross. I'm like, yo, how are they doing this? Like, that's devilish. Then you do research and you say, well, that's not the upside down cross was St. Paul, and St. Paul was hung upside down because he didn't feel like he was in awe to Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's not evil.
It's
you know what I'm
not
saying?
evil.
You
It's
can't,
not the 3/6s.
they
It's
just
not
didn't-
the Satan.
Right. They didn't give him the Jesus Christ.
Stars. Right.
So, some of that stuff is crazy. The 666 thing, when they brought that, I was like, I was kind of like, whoa, all right, that's doing too much. And then they start explaining the proton, neutron, electron makes up the black melanin. I'm like, oh, they got this whole thing figured out. Like, you know what I'm saying? They got this whole thing kind of figured out. Whether we believe it or not, that's what
Right.
they believe in.
That's their
You know
thing.
what I mean?
And you got to kind of allow them to have their thing.
Yeah, and they age like our authenticity came in a different level. Like, you know, now they troll people. Like when people say something bad up, we try to wash it away. They roll with the bad.
Right.
As soon as somebody says something, yeah, I'm that. I don't care. And they don't be really that, but they just trolling it.
Right.
So I had to understand that side of it too. Like, it's different.
And from a business standpoint with them and from a musical standpoint with them, it's more like the freedom to be whatever I want to be.
For sure.
And people don't understand when he says, I'm a rock star.
Yeah, they embrace everything that we thought was negative. Like we seen crackheads growing up, or we seen people on pills and all that. We kind of stepped away from it, like, oh, that's negative, or they messing up, or doing the wrong thing. They go towards it. They're like, yo, my man's on Xannies. We still love him though. You know what I mean? He depressed. We about to embrace that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And write a song about this shit.
You see what I'm saying? My man's suicidal. We rolling with him. Usually would have been like, oh, he's suicidal. Let me move over here. I don't want him to
He needs to be in a crazy band. But they explore it and understand it a little bit
they
more.
Embrace it faster than how we used to. Like we said, we grew up rebellious. So our first thing was the shield. Like, nah, I ain't messing with that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
How tough was it for you guys? Because he was already really known in Philly. How tough was it for y'all to break him as an artist? And what do you see the differences between breaking him and like trying to break Jeezy or T.I. or somebody like that?
Our toughest battle was really trying to figure out why they wanted us to have the first Dave East or the first J. Cole more than just the Lil Uzi. You know?
You talking about Atlantic Records?
Yeah, well, us in general.
Okay, yeah.
Drum and Cannon, first artist out the back is this rock star kid. We thinking we should have Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The next Jay-Z.
Right.
The next, you know what I'm saying? They never expected us to even do that, like, or have a 2 Chainz. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They always expecting from what we put into the game,
yes,
that we're supposed to bring you the top-notch MC that ever walked the face of the earth, instead of the most viral rock star dudes jumping off scaffold matches. You know what I'm saying? So that was our toughest thing, because when we're delivering the music, they're looking at us like, okay, before I listen to this, why? This looks weird. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Instead of sitting for face value and then knowing what it's going to grow into. We had that whole vision. That was the toughest thing. Once we broke through that barrier, it was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Because it makes sense. We made it Generation Now. Like, our first mixtape outside of Gangsta Grills was Generation Now. And the first person we had on it was Kanye, Joe Buttons, and Stat Quo. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that grew into Corey Guns, Jay Mills, and them. But these were all different acts at that time. Kanye was totally different from Joe Buttons.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Stat Quo was totally different. Like, Stat Quo was on some different. And we was like, oh, we need to, this is how the generations move. So the generation now is these kids are smart enough to know how to perform. They do all these things. Half of these kids don't even go practice or do things. They just know naturally how to do 2 backflips and be in the crowd.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or color their hair to get there.
Right.
You know, we had training for a lot of us. We had producers before our time telling us, yeah, if you put peroxide in your head, it make the girls go crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Man, but I had peroxide in my hair and fucking you on TV rides.
See what I'm saying?
The whole front of my hair was blonde, so I don't even understand why these parents was bugging out off these kids. I mean, you did the same thing. We had dreadlocks. We had every fucking thing.
They always, we always wanted better for our kids. So when we look at it, it's kind of like we don't want them to do what we do. You know, the same thing our parents did. We don't want you to smoke cigarettes and weed, and we want you to listen
we did it.
We did it. So they doing it. You know, we want the best for our kids, but the best is how they putting it out. You know what I'm saying? So, that was the biggest thing for us to get past the part where we ain't bringing J. Cole. We can find a J. Cole. We can find, those guys, but we need somebody that's going to cover all ends. We don't need J. Cole but it's not appealing to the women, or we don't need Tupac that's only doing Black Power righteous. We need like somebody that's gonna cover all the aspects of the rap game, because that's what we built this thing for. Right. We ain't built it just to had this couple fans here, and you know what I mean. Right. So that was our toughest thing. But once people got the music, they was like, oh snap, this is fire. Right. If you really sit and listen to it.
If you don't close your mind,
you don't close your mind.
Tell me about Jack Harlow.
Jack Harlow is what we was like, okay, we've got the rock star off. Who's the rapper that's going to be different? Are we going to go to Queens and find the next Nas? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. we went to Kentucky and found the next Nas.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When we went to Kentucky, it was like, you're the rapper? You're the one that's doing this? And it's kind of weird because it's like,
How did he come across your ears?
I was like, oh, I heard the rapping. I was like, oh, this is a dope kid, swagged out. I already had it in my mind what he was going to look like. I thought he was going to have dreads.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? I definitely didn't think he was going to be white. Not that I mean anything, but I didn't hear that at first because he was rapping. He was rapping with other rappers like Scheme and all these guys. So I was like, when I first seen it, I'm like, oh, I seen a video. I said, wait a minute. This kid got
That's
something.
him?
Yeah,
Right.
He got something. He's 6'4", glasses, kind of Napoleon Dynamite, got his own swag, you know what I'm saying? But he got a vision. Like, he came to me and was like, yo, I'm the Outkast Clips type dude. I want to have those Pharrell influences, but still want to have live music too. And I want it to be fun. And I got a crew. It's weird because, like, all these kids I'm starting to see, they like what we seen in the past. Like, you got the Native Tongues. You know what I'm saying? He got a whole his whole crew called the Private Garden.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, they got a team full of producers, team full of rappers. I'm seeing it all over again. So I know it's special because Native Tongues was special then.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? And
you had the Bomb Squad. You had
Bomb
Dre,
Squad,
that Dre's whole crew, the whole Aftermath crew that they put together over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and at first we were a little leery because I'm like, we've seen these before. They've been Mac Miller, they've been Jeezy or whatever it's been.
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna make it different? And the difference is the vision. These kids are coming with full-blown architect blueprints. Like,
Okay.
This is what I'm going to do today. Tomorrow I'm going to do this. Next year is this. And I'm not in no rush. I just know my vision. And when they got it like that, it makes our job easy because all we got to do is add the sauce to it, and it goes on its own.
Mm.
So, and then I heard the music he had, like, he had some real hip-hop joints. He had some fun joints. So it made it easy for us to say, let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let's do this. This is something that we can work with.
That's
Is
it.
that important now that you got to have that full vision, full plan as an artist? Because a lot of artists are going to ask the same question, how do I do it? What do I do to stand out from the millions and millions and millions of people that are going to upload something to YouTube that's going to do this, that's going to do that? How do I be the one that's seen?
Yeah, you got to diversify your portfolio. It's funny because I was watching NBA TV the other day, and I was watching the All-Star game. It was the greatest one you had. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dr. J was retiring in this one. Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley's first joint. Isaiah Thomas and, these cats. And I was watching the game, and I couldn't figure out why then I liked it, but now it was boring to me. And it was because they didn't have all the great moves, you know what I'm saying? You just lay up, you know what I mean? When normally they would have came down and flushed it.
Right.
And you compare that to today, like, you can't just have the cool dribble. You know what I mean? You can't just, you gotta be KD. You gotta be able to dribble, rebound, assist, do the between the leg dunk, you know what I mean? Shoot the gym out. And a lot of these kids are starting to do that. So if you're listening and you're one of those guys, man, make sure you know every piece of the game. Make sure you study it from your social media to, if you're going to sing, song, rap, make sure you can sing and rap. If you want to produce, like the kids I'm meeting, 12, 13, 14 years, I got a little 18-year-old girl. She know everything, bro. She knows. I'm like, how do y'all know this stuff?
Who is this young little?
Her name is Illuminati. She's from Atlanta, and she's ill. Like she reminds me of a younger Eve, but what fun. Like she has the got a man, but still has the Love is Blind feel. Like she still has topics, but she's not like, you don't push her too far off where it's like it's too conscious, and you don't push her too far Cardi B. Right. It's like right in the vein. So when you meet these people, and this is what I look for in the kids. When I'm going to see them, it's like, what's your vision? And they tell me, well, I do beats, I play guitar, I play the drums. I'd be like, how? You know what I'm saying? And rap, and make beats, and you sing,
right?
And you know how to engineer yourself. Oh man,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So just make sure you're not coming. A lot of the rappers that came up through this era, a lot of them just rap. A lot of them don't know what Pro Tools is. They just know they record in it.
Right.
They don't know how to mix. They don't know how they want themselves to sound.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to stay in shape for their show.
Right.
They don't know what they look supposed to be.
Right.
Or talk how to talk and interact with their fans on
So
social
in other
media.
words, if you coming in the generation now, you better have your shit together.
Yeah, for sure. You got to because you got to be able to compete.
You got to be able to compete, and it is competitive. This is a competition.
I tell them all. I say I got 3 artists. They, one, like I said, Uzi drops 700 songs a year.
Right.
And I Scheme, he give me another 500. You can't come with 20 songs a year.
Oh wow.
For a rapper, you just can't.
You can't.
I
Not
can't.
no more.
Nah, you can't. It used to be quality over quantity. I need to pick the quality out of the quantity.
Yeah, it's
You know
got to
what
be
I'm saying?
now it's quantity out
Yeah,
of
that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like I gotta. You
Yeah,
know?
I think 50 Cent said it best back in the days when he said, "You just make a record, let it go.
That's it.
Stop holding it." People used to start holding. No, this is the one's gonna be on the album.
Can't do it no more because
Can't
you don't
do
know
it.
what people gonna like.
Right.
You don't know what they're gonna like.
Yeah, you just got to put that. You got to put that shit out there. What's the future for generation now? What do you see? Well, who's next up the bat?
Well, Jack Harlow, obviously, we put a project out and it just caught flames. It's caught 200 miles per hour. So we putting the building behind that right now. Uzi's on autopilot, but I'm still developing. It's so much room with him.
There's so many things you could do with Lil Uzi
There's
Vert.
so many things, and it's like, I'm just letting him come to me like, all right, here's my vision for the next album, and we start that. But Jack, like I said, they have a small group of people where I don't have to hover over them.
Okay.
I can just come in at the end and kind of, put the seasoning salt on it or whatever. But they have their little crew, and then we got Cluminati. I'm trying to develop her into being the girl Uzi without being Uzi. What I mean is not being a rock star. She has her own vision. But when I see her, she's a star. She'd be the first girl I can see to have the stupid iced out chain. You know what I'm saying? But still girly girl. She not tomboyish.
Right.
She's still a girl. She still wears skirts. She still wear, she got the colorful hair. Like she's fun. So I'm trying to figure out how to get her in that space soon.
Okay.
And then we got Lil James, which is, from Detroit, lived in Atlanta. He's an orphan kid that his parents got killed in a drive-by. And he just been trying he been trying to figure out the whole time. He moved to Atlanta. With the uncle, you know what I mean? So that's a special story right there, too, where he's trying to figure out how to live without having no guidance. Like, we his parents now.
Oh, wow.
It's 3 men and a baby. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I mean? We kind of like,
he's a rap artist?
Yeah, he's a rap artist. He's a street dude, you know what I mean? He rolled around a lot of gangs. Gangs raised him. You know what I mean? Because he didn't have nothing else.
Right.
So he basically, we're developing him. He got a super dope story. Once it's told to the world, you'll be able to get to it because it's authentic. You can check his background. And then, we got Scheme, which is the super duper rapper from from the West Coast that been rapping forever. He's like a West Coast legend. He writes every hit for every artist. And, we're just trying to figure out, like, he works so hard. His 10,000, 20,000 hours they say he's supposed to have in the game before he becomes successful is upon him any day now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to get him in a good space. You know what I mean? And that's the future right now, and trying to get these cats, like, with MTV, they just started MTV Films, just trying to get them back into where we can start getting the highs out again.
Right.
We don't have those things. Like, I don't understand why nobody took House Party, this generation's House Party, took Ray Shreemer and kind of
I was thinking
crazy,
about the same shit. I was telling somebody, I said, man, we need to get the movies out again,
yeah,
man.
we don't have those, like the Who's the Mans.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not giving these new kids no opportunity to kind of flourish into that mode. Like, we had that along with a soundtrack. We ain't had no soundtrack.
We ain't had a good soundtrack in God knows how long. And I still do believe you could do a soundtrack. And a lot of these kids are in a position right now where their social following is so deep that people will absolutely go see them if you put that stuff out there for them to be seen in. So MTV Films is back on track again. They doing something now?
Yeah, we went to we did TRL with Uzi. He did a performance, and I ran into the lady, and she was like, "Yo, we're bringing it back out. We're doing a little bit of comedies. We're doing dramas and and things." And it's funny. I tell this story all the time because Shawty Red, which was working on the Jeezy stuff with me. He did some of the scoring for Say the Last Dance, and his residual checks is still crazy. You know what I'm saying? MTV, you know what I'm saying? It's like, how is this even possible? He's like, man, I just got to Save the Last Dance check. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really trying to get into that, not even the Brandon's standpoint, but from Netflix and stuff like that. Like Will Smith, like he just did the film in Netflix. That's streaming crazy. He could have easily just went to the theater and did it.
The Bright movie.
But he doing it. he doing it the future way.
Yeah.
We going straight to Netflix. That people going to stream the hell out of this if I
Let
put the
me tell
right
you
promotion.
something. Whatchamacallit did something that I always wanted to do, and I still think that I will be able to do it at a certain point. But Netflix just did a big deal with David Letterman. David Letterman got something coming on Netflix once a month, and it's called "And My Next Guest Is," and it's just a one-on-one, and it's something that I've always dreamed about doing. You don't need a lot. You don't need this, that, and the third. You just need me and an artist, me and a guest, me and a person. Just a question and answer.
Right.
The same way we're doing it right here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You definitely need that because I'm tired of them stealing your sauce. You know what I'm saying, on the television. You know what I mean?
Come on, son. Come on, man. Fuck out of here with that.
They should have gave you the house for that.
They should have. You know that. You already know, bro.
And in Netflix, too, like, we haven't had a, even for music, we haven't had a 30 for 30 like they got ESPN.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They've had like Unsung and all those.
Yeah.
But I feel like the detail of it ain't all the way there. You know what I'm saying? And 30 for 30, like, it shows every little piece on the business and all that. They just show you what was wrong in Unsung. This is right, this is wrong, this how they failed, this how they don't show the other parts. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that'll be good for Netflix because it could be a series that somebody could just click on and just watch them all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, let's collabo, man. Let's make that happen on Netflix. You got to connect with Netflix. We can make that happen. Absolutely.
Chris Hicks, I'm coming.
Oh, shout out to Chris. Yeah, shout out to Chris, man. Let's make that happen because I always had an idea for a show called The Best You've Never Heard Of. And there's a lot of us that's done a lot of stuff in the music business. Not mostly me, but I mean like taking Unsung to the next level. Like, the Regina Kings. And people don't even know half the shit that Regina has done. And it all started with a football player that used to play for the Steelers. That was the first black quarterback that played for the Steelers that actually got so bad on drugs that Joe Gilliam was his name.
Gilliam,
and I saw the story of Joe Gilliam, and I was like, wow. You know how many people don't know that Joe Gilliam was the first black quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers? That if it wasn't for that, he couldn't stand the pressure of the racism of Philly. I mean, not Philly, of Pittsburgh. He two different places now. All right, the bird is different than Philly. That he wouldn't have really got on drugs that bad, and then they had to sit him down, and that's how Terry Bradshaw was backup to Joe Gilliam. Yep. Say Joe Gilliam had an arm like a fucking cannon, could throw 90 yards accurate with no problem. Man. And these are some of our unsung heroes that we don't fucking know about. And there's a lot of people in every race that's like that, of people that I would like to bring to the forefront. So I always had that idea to do that. Kind of a series.
And the podcast, like some of these podcasts need to be on Netflix. You know what I'm saying? We going to revolt, and it's no problem with that. But I miss the Fab Five Freddy kind of feel. Like I wish somebody would come and do like, when they interview Pac at his house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We just sitting at the same table.
That's funny because I got a meeting with Bounce TV talking about doing something with music and videos, but I don't want to do it in the studio.
No. You got to move around.
One of the most famous things I've ever done, and to this day, people see it and they keep asking me, and I won't reveal it, is when I put Eazy-E in the Smash, and I had my hand on his head, and he said something in my ear. And people always debate. He told Ed, I had you fucked up. Y'all didn't know Eric. I did. Eric wasn't like that. All right? Eric was a fucking great dude and an astute fucking businessman. Right. But people always ask me shit like that. Oh, you so lucky you knew Tupac like that. Like, to me, it was like knowing Don Cannon.
Right.
We didn't look at him as, oh, shit, Pac is coming in. It was like, yo, what up, nigga? Right. He'd be in my mom's house chilling. So it was a different aspect of everything, but I want to do something where I'm with you in your walk of life, where I'm with Kanye while Kanye's going through the process. Well, I'm with Jay, where we're in the studio, or not even in the studio, in his office, and just watching them field phone calls and watching Don and Drama do what they do on a daily basis, not the fluff shit.
Yeah.
Not you come in and sit down, hey, and then we're going to show a couple of your videos. And I want to do the road shit.
Yeah, and the so-called people that hold this culture, like, y'all got to be able to give us the platform. Like, I watched Anthony Bourdain's with Method Man eating donuts.
Right.
Why is Anthony Bourdain getting that thing?
Why does he get that love?
No disrespect.
No disrespect. Like, there's no disrespect to Fallon.
Right.
Love Jimmy Fallon.
Right.
But when we was doing this shit, Jimmy Fallon was not around doing it. Wasn't I talking about this earlier about the people that we've created this culture and then they take our culture and cool, you gave the Roots a great platform, but God damn it if that shouldn't be a black man doing
For
that.
sure. That's all I'm saying. Somebody need to be rolling around these streets, going to Dillia's with, you know what I mean, and Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
And interviewing them there and y'all talking about and walking down the street. I just miss that. Like Fab Five Freddy was walking down the street in New York.
We had to fight for me and Dre to be able to do
You see what I'm saying? Like,
At first, they were like, y'all a studio show and you're going to stay in the studio and because we got Fab. I was like, nah, I don't want to just fucking be in the studio all the time.
Yeah,
I want to go out, too, and do stuff. So we were able to go out, and Fab was able to do the Digital Underground, one of the most famous episodes when they had Humpty and Shock G there, and people swore they were two different fucking people. But Shock took his brother and put his brother in a Humpty outfit, and they face to face, and then they did a split screen with him where they were face to face.
That's fire.
And people was like, oh shit, Shock and Humpty. I told y'all Humpty is a different person. No, it was Shock. They just did a split screen on the shit, and we're going with Hammer. And the first time, if you look at Hammer in the studio, in the dance studio with Fab Five Freddy, they always circle it because Jennifer Lopez was behind as one of the dancers for Hammer in the studio. So it's all of that shit that you can't just get sometimes sitting in the studio.
Yeah, and they need that. And I think that a lot of the rumor that you see on social media that you don't know about, that'll get cleared once you have a show that everybody's paying attention to.
And the culture needs it. The culture needs it because you need
You gotta
do
it. You gotta do it. I don't know anybody else
that can do it. You need a dude
it.
like me that's talking to Uzi.
Absolutely.
You need that because Krista will tell you just from doing a radio show, the amount of respect that I get from these dudes is mind-boggling. Like, I didn't even know I was on some of these dudes' radar. I go out and introduce myself to Migos, and they fucking lose their mind when they see me. Like, yo, OG, oh shit, look at my Yo MTV Raps jacket. I got it right here. And blah. And it's just, like, I'm boggled by the shit. I remember when I was up in the studio that Molly has up in Duluth.
Yeah, Tree Sound.
Tree Sounds. And I went up there for a Ray Scrummett listening joint. Yeah. And them motherfuckers stopped the music when I walked in. OG Ed Lover in the fucking house. Handed me the weed and handed me a bottle. I was like, thank you, man. I was like, yo. And she'll tell you, I'm one of, like, Krista has been a real big proponent of opening my ears up to different music shit because I get stuck in my shit sometimes. This shit is fucking bullshit ass motherfuckers can't rap. Right. And then you listen to it and you take the time and you open your ears up and stop being so protective over what was happening in the past and learn to live in the moment. Yeah. You'll appreciate it a little more. Yeah, we can't expect them to like what we like.
Yeah, but I think that once I got over that part, I was like, oh, I know what's going on. Because some of my favorite artists, people would have been like, they not the best rappers, like Das Effects. You know what I'm saying? Nice and Smooth wasn't the best to me.
They weren't the best.
You know what I'm saying? You had
not when Dizzy Gillespie plays the sax. I used to tell him Dizzy Gillespie, first of all, never played sax.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, once I got past that, I was like, man, that's what I listened to then, man. I need to embrace the shit.
That's
now.
right.
You know what I mean?
But we don't act like everybody that came from our generation was Nas and Kool G Rap. Everybody, it wasn't.
Not at all.
It wasn't. Hammer was fucking fire, and Hammer couldn't rap himself out of a wet paper bag.
He had a lot of people's favorite rappers. That's Kanye's favorite rapper.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You'll find yourself driving down the street going, funky, Comedina.
You see what I'm saying?
Lyrically, Tone Loc was trash.
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Right.
Come on.
My hoop day. Lyrically, this niggas was not nice.
Right.
So, come on, y'all. Give these cats a break, man. Just let them be who they want to be. And it's about their generation.
For sure.
And it's about generation
now.
That's right. That's what it's about. Don Cannon, thank you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, bro. We definitely going to stay in touch and collab on some shit, man.
For sure. We got to get them shows going.
Yeah, let's get it going, man. Right here. Come on, Son, the podcast, man. Y'all be good. Keep God first. Everything else will fall into place. I'll talk at you, with you, to you, and about you next week. All right? Right here. Be good if you can. Be good. Be careful if you can. Be careful. Name your baby Donald Earl Cannon. All right. Until the next time we ride together, slide together, laugh out loud together. Ed Lover, Baby Bucket, Krista, and Kimana saying God bless each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for tuning us in, tuning us out. Remember, I always give you the good shit and not the bullshit internets. Rest in peace to my man, Combat Jack, always for putting me in this position that I'm in now, you internets. Now, come on, son. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. We out. This Ed Lover podcast is being done in conjunction with Cigars International. Make sure you check out cigarsinternational.com for all your cigar needs.
This episode of Come On Son, the podcast, is produced and engineered by co-executive producers Kimana Paulus and Krista Hayes. Recorded at Mean Street Studios in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. This is an official Loudspeakers Network podcast. Network podcast. Network podcast. Network podcast. Network podcast. Network podcast.